Let's continue with our questions. Now, take a look at the question that we are about to answer. Before we even read the question, I want to give you some information on test questions that look just like this. You might see these kinds of questions in your IA or on the Real Start test. When you see a question with the read the dictionary entry below, and there's a dictionary entry that looks like this, all of the answers that are inside the dictionary entry and the answer choices are going to be real definitions of the word. However, when it is a question like this, it wants to know which is the best definition or what is the best definition of how it is used in the sentence in our text. So let's go ahead and read question 14 now that we know this information. Read the dictionary entry below. Straight, adjective. Definition 1, honest. Definition 2, correct. Definition 3, without curves or bends. And definition 4, following one after another. Which meaning best fits the way straight is used in paragraph 1? Now that we read the question, we can move on to step 2, which is to find keywords that will help us find the answer in our text. What words do you think we should be circling as our keywords? The words that I think are important keywords are straight and paragraph 1. Straight is a keyword because it's the word we are looking for, the definition for, and paragraph 1 tells us where we're going to find it. So now that we've done step 1, 2, we can move on to step 3. And in step 3, we are going into the text to see if we can find our keywords. I found our keyword, and the passage made it super easy to find because it was already underlined for us. And I've also found paragraph 1 right here. Now, let's go ahead and read the paragraph to try to see if we can answer our question. Remember, step 4 is to read around where we found our keywords to answer the question. Blip, Judy Moody woke up. Drip, drip, drip went rain on the roof. Blip, blip, blip went drops on the window. Not again. It had been raining for 7 days straight. Boring. Now we can go back to the question. Which meaning best fits the way straight is used in paragraph 1? Meaning 1, honest. G, meaning 2, correct. H, meaning 3, without curves or bends. Or J, meaning 4, following one after another. Let's take a look at how we would answer this question. Since we know that all of these are correct definitions, let's go ahead and plug in each definition instead of using the word and see which one makes the most sense. Let's start with meaning 1, honest. It had been raining for 7 days, honest. It doesn't really make sense into what the paragraph was talking about. Let's try another one, meaning 2, correct. It had been raining for 7 days, correct. Boring. Again, it doesn't really make sense with what the paragraph was telling us about, that it had been raining. Let's try definition 3, without curves or bends. Now, when I think of the word straight, this is what I normally think of. A straight line or straight hair without having a curve or a bend. But let's see if it's going to be the correct definition in this sentence. Not again. It had been raining for 7 days without a bend or a curve. When it rains, it doesn't really curve or bend. It's just water falling down. So that might not be the right definition, but let's check definition 4 before we make our final answer. Meaning 4 is following one after another. Not again. It had been raining for 7 days following one after another. Boring. That makes sense. She had been saying that there was rain on the window, on the roof, and she says the words not again, letting me know that it sounds like it's been raining before. And the definition says following one after another, meaning it's happening over and over and over again. So it sounds like which meaning best fits the way straight is used in paragraph 1 is meaning 4, following one after another. When you see questions like this and the word like a word like straight that you might already know, You might already know the definition and you're going to be tempted to pick the definition that you know right away. But it's super important that you consider every single option, every single answer choice, and make them all good options before you choose. If we had just answered the question and said, and looked at the word straight and said without curves or bends, we would have gotten this question wrong because we didn't consider any of the other answer choices. So even if you know what the word means, it's super important that you consider all of the answer choices. Now let's move on to question 15. Why does Judy put her head under the pillow? We've done step 1. Can you tell me what step 2 is? Step 2 is to find our keywords, and I have circled them for us. I circled the word why, head, under, and pillow. I think the word why is a key word because we need to know the reason this happens. I also circled the word head, under, and pillow because we need to find where she does this in our text. And we're going to find these keywords in step 3, which is when we look at our text. Take a look at our text here, and I've already found it. It says it right here in paragraph 3. Judy put her head under the pillow. Now, I want you to read around this keyword, read paragraph 2, and read the rest of paragraph 3. Why does Judy put her head under the pillow? She puts her head under her pillow because she wishes she could stay in bed. If you look here, she says, if only she was sick. Being sick was the greatest. You got to stay home and drink pop. She's telling us all of the things that she could do if she got to stay home. Now let's go ahead and work on our last question. Why does Judy call her brother a name at the end of the story? We just did step 1. Now I want you to tell me one more time, what is step 2? Step 2 is to find our keywords. Again, I chose the words why, brother, name, and end of story. Why do you think I chose these as my keywords? I chose the word why because we're looking for a reason this happens. I also circled the word brother because we are trying to find a time when she is interacting or talking to her brother. I also circled the word name because it says that she called him a name. She didn't call him his real name, Stink. She called him a different name. Once we find that name, it'll be easier to be able to find the reason. And the word end of story. This gives me a big hint as to where we can look in step 3 when we try to find our keywords. Now that we found our keywords in step 2 and we got a big hint in step 2 about where we can look in our text, let's move on to step 3 and try to find our keywords. I'm going to pause on the screen for a few seconds. I've already found the name that she calls him. What is the name that she calls Stink? That's right, she calls Stink a rat fink. Stink, rat, fink. Now that we found our key word, the name that she calls him, pause again and read around our keyword. Read paragraph 37, 38, 39, and 40 and 41 to try to figure out what the reason is why she calls her brother a name at the end of the story. Why does Judy call her brother a name at the end of the story? She wants Stink to be afraid of her. G, Stink tells mom that Judy took the cat's temperature. H, she is angry that Stink ruined her plans. Or J, Stink wants to stay home with Judy. Take a look at our keyword. We have him at the end of the story, and we found the name that Judy calls her brother, Rat Fink, Stink, Rat Fink. If we read before and after, we see that her mom says, better get dressed, don't want to be late. We also see right after she calls him that, Stink tells her, well, you'll have to call me it at school because you don't get to stay home. Judy stuck out her cherry red, no mumps tongue at Stink. If we think back to what Judy really wanted to do, she really wanted to stay home. And what does Fink tell her? You'll have to call me it at school because you don't get to stay home. She did not get what she wanted. And the reason she didn't get what she wanted is that Stink had told his mom and told their mom in the first place that she didn't want to go to school. And she is angry that Fink ruined her plans. She is not happy that she can't stay home now and do all of the fun things she had planned. It is now time for your exit ticket. You're going to answer one more multiple choice question about the passage. I know we've been answering so many questions, but you have one more to go, and this one you're going to do all on your own. The question is, read line 22 again. Come back in 5 minutes, said Judy. I'll have a fever by then. Why does Judy tell her mom to come back in 5 minutes? Is it A, it takes 5 minutes for fevers to start? B, she needs time to make herself look like she has a fever? C, she doesn't want to talk to her mom right now? Or D, her mom didn't have a thermometer yet?